Hi, ladies. Welcome back. Happy Thursday. It's day 3 of Creating Confidence. We're listening to the amazing Demi Lovato today and her song Confident. How perfect, right? So perfect. I also want to remind you, as you're coming in, let me know that you're here. Say hey in the chat. Also, I want to remind you to give permission to StreamYard. By now, it's day 3. You probably know how to do this, but just in case anybody is joining us for the first time on day 3, I want to make sure you know how to do this. So I'm going to share my screen super quick. Here we go. Window. Okay. So if you're in Facebook, you're going to see at the bottom of the message for today's video post that I'm going live in StreamYard. So you need to give permission by clicking on StreamYard.com. What's wrong with being? Nothing. Nothing is wrong with being confident, ladies. Okay. So then you're going to just click this little button that says Let StreamYard see your Facebook comments. And that's all you need to do. So now I can see who you are and how you are interacting. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing now. I just want to make sure I remind everybody how to do that. Okay. The other thing I want you to do in the chat pod right now, in the comments, let me know, what is your biggest strength? What is your biggest strength? Remember, just like we can be torn down, we can be built up. So think about that. What's your superpower? What are you really good at? What do all your friends or family or coworkers come to you for? What do they say you're good at? Mine is public speaking. That's definitely one of the things that is like my biggest strength. So share that in the comments. Let's build each other up. And let me know how the Confidence Creator went last night. How did your new truths go? For those of you that sent it in, awesome work. Everybody did a really good job. If you haven't done it yet, make sure you do it. The only way to build your confidence is to implement these things, practice these tools and techniques that I'm sharing with you. All right, so let's start to wind down the music. We're going to jump in now fully to day 3. Oh my gosh, this week's going so fast. We're going to put everything that you've learned all together now, okay? Day 1, we learned how we're capable of massive change and growth. In fact, we're actually wired for it. We know that we can trust ourselves to figure out whatever comes our way. All we have to do is try and know that we will learn something regardless of how it goes. Day 2, we learned how to quiet that inner critic. We named her, and now we're going to have those regular check-ins with her so that she can't get out of control. No more of that. And no more self-sabotaging behavior either. Now that we have our new truths, the lies that we've been telling ourselves no longer have power over us. Goodbye, lies. And now it's day 3, and we are ready to master your mindset. Are you ready? If you're ready, type ready in the comments. I want to see that y'all are getting involved, you're participating, you're here, you're active. So let me know if you are ready. Okay. Let's start with a little comparison. So let's imagine I told you all that you could put on your out of office later today and we were all going to go to a tennis match together. I don't know if any of you are tennis fans. And I told you that player A was a born natural. Like she's been playing tennis since she came out the womb. Her mother was a tennis player. Her siblings play. It just runs in the family. She won a lot of matches, trophies for days. It just really comes easily to her. And then I told you, player B has to work at it. She didn't even start playing until her senior year of high school. She practices 10 hours a day. She really has to practice her craft and work at it to become a better player. Who do you think would win? Player A or player B? Let me know in the comments. Player A, the natural born talent, or player B, the one that has to cultivate it? We're going to put that on the back burner for just a second, okay? But don't worry, we'll come back to that. But I just want to capture your answers in the chat. So player A or player B. And now we're going to talk about growth mindset, because that's really what we're here to talk about today, to master your mindset. Has anyone ever heard of this term before? have you heard of the term growth mindset? If you have, drop a 1 in the comments. Let me know if this is something that you're familiar with. And I'm going to go up to our whiteboard here so that we can talk about, if I can get this off, the 2 kinds of mindsets. And these were actually identified by the American psychologist Carol Dweck. Now, I am not going to regurgitate everything that Carol Dweck has uncovered. If you are more interested in this, I encourage you to go read her books. She has plenty of information out there, but I just want to get you familiar with this concept of the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. These are the 2 types of mindsets that we all have. And if you have taken my master class, then you have definitely heard these terms before because I talk about it there as well. Growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Just super important concept to understand at a high level. So if you have a fixed mindset, you believe that you have a limited set of skills and talents. You also believe that you're born with this and that it cannot be changed over time. I hope we all know that's the international symbol for change, the triangle. So it can't be changed. You're born with it. You're stuck. That's it. You get what you get and you don't get upset. How many of you have heard that before? Now, if you are on the other side and you believe a growth mindset, then you believe you can change and grow skill sets over time. Right? You are not stuck with this, right? You can improve your talents. So, what do you think you have? Do you think you have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? And there's no right or wrong answer per se, right? You have what you have. And this isn't to judge anybody. Oh, this person has a fixed or this person has a growth. It's really just, again, for you to have that baseline understanding. Now, some of you might be like, I don't know, Karen. I need more information. So let's look at a couple of the characteristics of both of these. Generally speaking, if you have a fixed mindset, you will do whatever it takes to avoid failure. And if you do fail or something doesn't go quite right, your tendency is to blame others when you don't succeed. Sounding familiar to anyone? You purposely won't try something new or step out of your comfort zone, and you easily become stuck or start to feel like the victim. Anybody relate to these feelings? I will be very honest. I've had some bleak moments in corporate where I 100% was operating from a fixed mindset. I blamed everyone else for my situation. You know, it was the leadership team's fault for the way they structured the business. It's the sales team fault for not following up on my leads. It's not my fault. It's not the marketing's fault. We're doing everything right. That's the tendency to get very defensive also. So if that sounds like you might be operating from a fixed mindset. Now, on the other hand, if you're a growth mindset, you generally know that the more you work at something, the better the outcome will be. You don't need to prove anything to anybody because you actually enjoy the challenge and learning new things. Go back to our day 1 definition, right? We know we can learn and figure things out. Very much this definition of confidence falls into growth mindset and growth thinking. So let's say your boss came to you and said, hey, Karen, we're reorganizing the team and this new department is now going to fall under you. Like you'd be thinking if you were growth mindset, like, this is awesome. Oh my gosh, I get to learn this whole new area of the business. This is so exciting. This is really going to boost my resume. And you'd be up for the challenge. If you were a fixed mindset, you'd be like, I don't know how to do that. Oh my gosh, what if I screw it up, right? And you'd have all those negative thoughts coming up. I will tell you, sometimes we fluctuate. We can go between fixed and growth mindset depending on the time of day, the area of our life. some of you may be in a fixed mindset at work, but when at home, for those of you that are parents, maybe you take a very growth-minded approach with your children. It's hard, right? It's different for everybody. So just something to be aware of. All right. Shall we go back to our tennis players for a minute? Okay, let's do that, because I don't know, some of you might be like, I really need to know what happens with the tennis players. So, who did you vote for? Player A or player B? Well, the majority of people typically vote for player A because they believe that the person with the natural talent obviously is going to be the better player. It comes easy to them. However, time and time again, it has shown that player B, the person who has to cultivate their talent, is actually the one who will win. When we put such a big emphasis on being a natural talent, it actually discourages people from putting effort into things that they have to work at. So people with a fixed mindset believe that no matter how much effort they put in, they're never going to be able to change their skills or grow their talents. So what's the point? Why bother? And when they try something and they don't get it right on the first try, they end up walking away. Forget it. This isn't for me. This isn't my bag. And they don't continue to put effort. Where the growth mindset person's like, I'm just going to keep practicing and trying and getting better and better. Having to work hard is a signal to some that, well, then I must not be a natural talent. So they don't end up challenging themselves to reach their goals and their full potential. So knowing that, why do we want a growth mindset? Well, research has shown that these people are more successful, more resilient, better at coping with failure, more confident, and they're more likely to challenge themselves to reach their goals and their full potential. So here's my question for you. Would you like to reach your full potential? Let me know in the comments. Like, give me a yes, say full potential, something that lets me know that, yeah, Karen, of course, I mean, I would hope you all want to reach your full potential, but some people don't. Some people are scared of success. Some of the things we talked about yesterday, the inner critic, maybe not feeling worthy, etc. So let me know in the comments, would you like to reach your full potential? I sure do. So here's the thing. Can we develop a growth mindset? Because what if I'm living in fixed and I'm like, oh crap, what do I do? Well, the good news is, yes, you can develop a growth mindset, but it has to start with a choice. Do you want a growth mindset? If you do, put yes in the chat. Let me know. And if I'm seeing some yeses, then I know that we're ready to roll, because I am going to show you exactly how to create that growth mindset. And it's a super simple model called the APA model. And I'm going to bring it back up to the board so that you can see this. Hopefully y'all had a chance to write this down in your notes. Remember, the more you participate, the more you're going to get out of it. Okay. So let's look at this, the APA model. Okay, the first step, almost always, shocker, is awareness. We have to start to realize when we are operating in that fixed mindset and setting off typically our inner critic. If we can't fix what we don't know, right? Now, I know old habits die hard. So it's going to take some practice to control your inner critic and to become hyper aware of when you're operating from a fixed mindset. So one of the great ways to do this is to understand your triggers. Okay. So what's a trigger? Well, has anyone, I don't know, some of you, has anyone ever tried to quit smoking before? Okay, I used to smoke, was not a good look on me, but I thought it was cool. Anybody who tells you they started smoking because they didn't think it was cool, like they're lying. That's the only reason to start smoking is because you think it's cool. So I was trying to impress a guy and I started smoking. And so then several years later, I was like, I don't really want to do this anymore. I want to quit. So I tried quitting. And all of a sudden, I became aware of all these triggers that made me want a cigarette. So for example, driving. I would get in the car and it was such a natural habit for me to roll down the windows, because this was before we had right? We had to actually crank the window down. turn on the radio, and the first thing I wanted to do was grab that pack of cigarettes and light up. Another trigger, drinking, going out with some friends. You're at a bar, you have a couple drinks, they're all going outside to smoke. And I'm like, wait for me, right? Major trigger. So it's becoming aware of these things so that we can shift it, right? We can change the way we react to these triggers. Okay. So this is going to be the same thing like I just described with the smoking for the fixed mindset. What are your triggers? Maybe it's that you're under pressure. Maybe you start to get into your fixed mindset when you talk to a specific friend or family member. Maybe they have a fixed mindset of their own that they're sort of projecting onto you. What about when you receive criticism? Could that be a time when you start to have a fixed mindset? Or when you procrastinate? For me, big time, ambiguity. The second I would have ambiguity at work, I would start to shut down. I would have all kinds of triggers and fixed mindset because I just wanted somebody to give me the blueprint from point A to point C. I just wanted to know how I could be successful in my role. So ambiguity for me was a huge, huge trigger. What are some of the triggers that you experience? Go ahead and drop them in the chat if you're brave enough. If not, write them down because I want you to be able to look at them and stare them in the face. Now that we know some of our triggers, we need to become aware of how we react to the triggers. That says, and how we react. Okay. What do you do when you get these triggers? Do you tend to blame other people? Do you get really hard on yourself and blame yourself? Do you make excuses for your situation? Do you rationalize actions or decisions? Maybe you're like me and you shut down. Oh, I'm the queen of shutting down. You might put up walls around loved ones, right? Maybe you judge other people. As soon as they make a mistake or you make a mistake, you start judging everybody else, right? You're pointing the finger somewhere else. There's a lot of different ways this can come into play. So let me give you just a quick example so we can really put this, make it a little more concrete for you. Let's imagine that you apply to a job and you see this job online and you're like, this job is for me. It's perfect. I'm a shoo-in. So it's the only thing you apply for because you're like, I know I'm going to get this job. And then 2 weeks later, you get a rejection letter. Yeah, it's tough. But at first, you console yourself. Oh, it's a rough market out there. There's so many people looking for a new job. I'm sure they had hundreds of qualified applicants, and they probably didn't even look at my application. It was probably just like a auto-generated response. And then our inner critic and our fixed mindset starts to creep in. And we start telling ourselves, oh, Karen, who are you fooling? Obviously, you're not smart enough for this role. They had somebody way more qualified than you. You probably won't even ever get another job. You'll probably just have to stay here in this one for the rest of your life. Or you start to blame other people and you're like, they are so stupid. They don't know what they let go. I am so good for this role, right? Either way, we either blame ourselves or we start to blame someone else. Has anyone ever had an experience like this before? It's okay if you add. It's so normal. We've all done there. Or been there and done that. So same thing, right? Understanding those fixed mindset triggers, what sets us off, maybe in this case, rejection, and how do we react to them, blame other people or blame ourselves. We need to become aware of that so that we can move on to step 2. And step 2 is perspective. So let me put that up on the board. Now we can change our perspective. Okay, can I give you all some tough love today? Would that be all right? I mean, it is day 3. We've been together for a while now this week. I want you to know that you always, always, always have control over how you view and react to a situation. Seriously, always. And I know some of you are like, but no, I didn't have a control over how that person made me mad. Actually, you chose to be mad. You chose to be mad. I tell my kids that all the time. He went in my room. He took my thing. I'm like, okay. And you chose to be mad and you chose to react by pitting him. Not okay. So Many times, literally the only thing we can control in a situation is our perspective, is the way we look at the situation. You always have control over this, my friends. Remember that. You get to choose how you look at the situation. Are you going to take the fixed mindset approach and use this as evidence that your skills are maybe lacking? Or are you going to use the growth mindset perspective and go, hey, maybe I just need to apply a little more effort. Maybe I just need to look at it from a different angle for it to work. But I know the question then is, how do we shift our perspective? How do we actually get to the point where we can think differently? And I'm going to give you a couple of tips today. So the first one is going to be the language that you use. How you talk to yourself and how you talk to other people about the things that you want to do or you get to do. A lot of you, or a lot of my clients, when I meet with them, they'll say things like, I should go back to school and get a degree. I'm like, wait, you should according to who? Who is telling you should do this? Because if it's something you actually want to do, then change your language. Start saying, I want to go back to school. I am so fortunate that I got financial assistance. I get to go to school. I get to further my education. That's a different perspective. That's a different mindset, right? So, I have to go to this trade show later this month for work. No, I get to go to this trade show later this month for work. I don't know who I might get to meet, who I might get to network with, right? Take it from a different perspective. Another thing I love to do when it comes to language is add the word yet. Yet is like one of the most powerful words in the English language. Seriously, 3 little letters makes a big difference. Just because you don't know how to do something yet doesn't mean you won't. So if you can use that language like, well, I don't know how to do social selling yet, but I can figure it out. I don't know how to run my own business yet, but I'm going to be successful. Totally different perspective. So look for ways in your life to use the word yet to have a more growth-minded approach. The other thing I always tell clients is to avoid the comparison game. It's no bueno. It doesn't serve any purpose. It is just a waste of energy. It would be really easy for me as an author to look at all the best-selling authors and go, oh, I knew I shouldn't have taken the time to write a book. Nobody likes my book. They're so successful. Why don't I have what they have? What a waste of energy. I could use that time to go market the book some more or get on another podcast or do something that will actually improve my chances of making my book a bestseller. If, and I say if you must play the comparison game, which I don't recommend, but if you must, you may only play it if you are looking back at all the people who wish they were in your shoes. How's that apply? Using same example as an author. Wow. Look at all those people who still have a book on their heart, and they have not taken the steps to write their book and share it with the world. I am so fortunate that I was able to do that. Look at all the people who wrote a book and they don't have the financial means right now to publish that book. I am so blessed that I had that good fortune to be able to publish my book. Now that, I'll let you play that comparison game if you must play it, because now you are looking at it from a growth perspective and all the things that you have accomplished. Another tip, just stop using the word failure. The word failure brings up so many negative connotations, so just don't even go there in the first place. In my book and in most people's book, failure is not trying. Friends, that is the real failure, when you never even go for it. We already know that if we learn things, when they don't go as planned, that we are still growing. We are still feeling confident because we know that we're going to be able to figure it out and we'll be able to implement those learnings and be better going forward. Look, Walt Disney, I don't know if you all knew this, but he was fired from his first job because he was told he had a lack of imagination. Now, a lot of people probably looked at him and were like, ooh, he failed. Is Walt Disney a failure? I don't think so. So just because something isn't working right now doesn't mean that it won't work out in the long run. Okay, so these are just a few ways using language that you can shift your perspective. There's a lot of others. I use them with my clients, and every person responds to something differently. So it's good to try them all and see what really works for you. So, awareness, perspective. Can you think of an example in your own life right now? Grab your notebooks, write this down, of a fixed mindset behavior you have, time where you're aware that you're doing something in a fixed mindset, what those triggers are that set it off, how you used to react, and how you are now going to shift your perspective and act going forward. I want to give you a minute to just think through that. Something you're doing right now that is a fixed mindset, what that trigger is that sets it off, how you typically react, and how you're going to think about it differently. Go ahead and just write that down for yourself. And then we're going to move on to step 3. And remember, anytime you don't know something off the bat or you need more time to think about it, just make it a journaling exercise for yourself later on. So look, right now, up to this point, everything that's happened is up here. It's all in the mind. It's all at how we look at things, okay? But the only way to truly develop a growth mindset and experience a growth mindset on a regular basis is to move beyond thinking. We cannot just stay in a way of thinking. We have to actually move on to our third step, which is action, okay? We have to make this a way of living and a way of being, the way we behave, all of that, okay? So that willingness to try and take things to the next step is how we are going to be more confident and take the right actions. So if we follow along for a second with that example that I was just giving to all of you about the whole job thing. So if I got to this point where I realized my triggers and I was like, okay, I'm shutting down. I'm not applying for any more jobs. Okay, I need to switch my perspective. That one just wasn't right for me. It's okay. I'm confident in my abilities. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply for some more. So the action step might be, well, hey, before I apply for any more jobs, I think I'm going to hire a resume writer and have them actually make sure that I have the best possible resume out there. You know what? I'm going to have a few friends review my cover letter as well to see if that is looking good. Maybe you even take some time to research some recruiters who you could reach out to and give them your resume, and they could help you find a great job. Or maybe you research some other companies and you connect with their HR people on LinkedIn so that it's not just a blind resume coming across. And then you commit to giving yourself a goal. I'm going to apply to 5 more jobs before the end of the week. See how that's different from a fixed mindset? We're not just sitting here blaming and then feeling stuck and frustrated. We're doing something about it. It's all about learning what else you need to do to make that goal come to fruition, to give it the best possible chance of succeeding. So who thinks that they could use this APA model, awareness, perspective, and action going forward to help develop your growth mindset? Can you do it? If you are willing to try, give me a yes in the chat. And I hope that everyone is willing to try this because that's how you make those life changes for yourself. Okay, now I'm also a realist. And I know that when it comes to taking action, that's where we all start to get a little freaked out. And that's okay. And that is normal. We typically start to imagine everything that can go wrong, all the bad things that could happen. Well, what if we use that to our advantage for a moment? Yeah, we're going to actually make that work for us. And I'm going to show you how in a second. We're going to ask, what's the worst that could happen? Because let me tell you what, and I bet some of you have experienced this before. Our imagination is almost always worse than reality. I remember when I was a kid, I had to get a shot. Did anybody else hate needles, not want to get shots as a kid? And my mom told me 3 days before the appointment, we're going to get a shot on Friday. And I was like, oh, for 3 days, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting a shot. This is going to be horrible. I mean, I was freaking out. I couldn't sleep. I mean, I was just a mess. Obviously, I get there for the shot. It's over in like 2 seconds. And I was like, that was it. I spent all that time freaking out, dreaming up ways to get out of getting this shot. Like I was like, can I run away? But it's such a simple example, but it's what we actually do with our goals and our dreams. So I want to help show you this really awesome exercise that is going to help you put this into practice. And we're going to actually go with our worst case scenario for a second. So let's go back up to the board. And let's imagine that you have a goal of starting a business. Anybody ever want to start a business? Okay. So we're going to call this mitigate the risks. And let's say that you wanted to start a business, but you're like, okay, my worst case scenario is that I lose all my life savings. Okay. And just to make this like more tangible, let's imagine that you have 300K, you've been working for several years, not just in the bank, but your investments, maybe in your 401k, right? But this is kind of like your life savings. Like this is what you've got. Okay. Let me ask you a question. If you went into business and you didn't have a very good plan, like is this possible? Could you possibly lose your life savings in your business? Yeah, of course you could. You could. It is a real viable possibility. Okay, let's honor that. Let's honor this possibility. Go, okay, well, how could I potentially mitigate this risk of losing my life savings? Let's just brainstorm. We're not committing to any of these right now. We're just going to brainstorm. What if I set a limit? What if I said, you know what, I'm willing to go 25K in on this business, and that's it. Once I hit 25K, unless the business is producing money that I can reinvest in it, I will not use any more of my life savings. Can this happen now? Is there any way for me to lose 300,000 if I honor my limit and I stop at 25K? Nope. Can't happen. It's not a thing anymore. Okay. How about this? What if I get a partner and we each go in 25K? Ooh, now I got 50K. Yeah, I got to share the profits, but I'm also sharing the risk. Could that be a viable option to help me avoid losing my life savings? Yeah, 100%. But let's not stop there. Let's keep going. Could I get a side hustle to fund my business? Or for those of you who are in corporate, stay in your corporate job and work that at the same time and only use the money from your side hustle or your business to put into the new business. Can't lose our life savings if we do that. That's literally what I did when I started my life coaching business. I took consulting and I only used the money that I made from consulting to put into my life coaching business and my book. Can't lose my life savings if I'm having a side hustle that's funding the whole business. Totally viable. I'm going to give you one more just because I want you to dig deep. I don't want you to stop surface level, right? I want you to really brainstorm and think outside of the box. You may not do any of these right now, but I want you to see how you can easily take the power away from these worst case scenarios that we dream up. What if I bought a business that already has a book of business? They already have clients. They already have paying customers. They're already profitable. They just maybe don't want to be in the business anymore. Could I buy a business? Obviously, you'd have to set a limit for how much you'd be willing to buy the business for, but can I lose my life savings if I buy a business that's already profitable and successful? No. See what I mean? So I love this exercise because we very quickly can start to put things into perspective and take away the power that these thoughts we've given in our head. Okay. So let me share, of course, because I always love to share a client example so you can see how to actually put this into perspective. I had a client who I was coaching in my Edit Your Life program, and she was in corporate, but she had a dream to open her own spa. And her thought, her fixed mindset was, I don't think I can leave corporate right now. I have little kids. We got to pay for college tuition someday. Like, nope, this is my bed. I got to lay in it. I'm like, okay, well, let's explore that, right? Let's see if we can't mitigate some of the risks. And so she started meeting with a financial planner and crunching the numbers and really understanding what would her exit plan look like? When could she leave corporate? She started meeting with those realtors to see, well, how much money would it really cost to have a space for a spa, and doing her due diligence. And once she started to look at all the options and all the ways she could mitigate her risk, she realized, oh, you know what? I only have to work for another year, and then I actually can leave corporate. I actually could go and start my own business. So now she had all the power back. She was able to start to pursue her dream. And I show you that because it isn't always instant gratification. Sometimes our dreams do take 2 or 3 years to plan out, and that's okay as long as we're doing the work. Sometimes this feels uncomfortable. Sometimes we start to try to figure out a plan and mitigating the risk, and we feel like, I don't know, can I really do this? And I just want to remind you to trust the process. Follow the APA model: awareness, perspective, and action, and you, my friends, will be golden. So are you ready? Are you ready to mitigate your risks and put that new growth mindset that you've just learned about in action? Give me a yes in the chat pod if you are. I hope that you are ready. And again, you can always come back and watch this again. If you're like, wait, how did she explain that? Or what do I need to do? Just come back and watch the video. It's going to take some practice. But of course, I'm going to give you your confidence creator now so that you can get that practice. Tonight, you are going to work on mitigating the risk. So any goals, any dreams, things that you have on your heart, where you have thoughts that have been holding you back, I want you to look at those thoughts and put them on paper and go, how can I mitigate this risk or this thing that's holding me back? Quick example. Maybe you want a new job and you're like, what if I apply for a job and I get it, but then I don't really like working at that company? What if I go there and it's not a good fit for the culture? Well, what could you do to understand the culture before you go? Could you interview some other employees, have a little quick virtual coffee, ask HR what the culture's like, the hiring manager, how they like working there? I mean, there's all these things where you could start to do to go, oh, well, what am I so worried about? I can figure out the culture before I actually get there. If you get stuck, drop a message in the Facebook group. Ask the question. I'm happy to help you brainstorm some ideas. And obviously, if you have a question, chances are somebody else in the challenge has a question too. When you are done, and the PDF should be up right now in the Facebook group, so go ahead and pull that down. Start working on that between now and 1 p.m. And then when you're done, email me the final thing so that you can be entered into the giveaway, okay? Because we're going to have the final drawing tomorrow. So you want to make sure the more you send me your homeworks, each time you send your homework from the challenge, you get another entry into the giveaway. So go pull that down, but don't go yet because we got a couple of things to do before we wrap up today. Number 1, let's rate our confidence. We started out on day 1 by rating our confidence. 1 being non-existent, 10 being total superstar. So where are you? Let me know in the comments. Put your number on a scale of 1 to 10. Has it gone up? By how much? My goal is to get all of you to unshakable confidence, and you have the tools and techniques now to do that. Also, I would love to hear from y'all and know, what is your biggest takeaway? What's that big aha moment that you had today? Love to hear that. Okay, so while those are coming in, I want to let you know, for those of you that took the challenge and you got what you needed, that's awesome. Congratulations. You now have unshakable confidence, and I am so proud of you for playing full out and getting all of this. I also know that there's going to be a subset of people that are like, Karen, this is great, but I want more support. I think I need more help to work through all of my challenges, my inner critic, my self-sabotaging behavior. Totally understand. I have been using these techniques for 2 years and I still have moments where I get tested or I have to remind myself to put them into practice. I would love to help you take your confidence journey to the next level. And the best thing to do is to help you get clear on what your life goals are, what your purpose is, how you can really own your power and take charge and build a pathway to freedom, a life that you love, whatever that looks like for you. For some of my clients, that's leaving corporate. For some, it's going to a nonprofit. For others, it's just getting promoted or moving into a different role in their current organization. There's a lot of different things that can get wrapped up into life coaching. I would love to keep the conversation going. So I have opened up a few slots on my calendar for next week, Monday and Thursday, for a one-on-one consultation because I want to look at your specific situation, right? I want to help you uncover what's actually holding you back during that call. And then we're going to come up with a game plan together for how you can take action going forward. So make sure you hop in there. I'm going to show you how to do this because it is so super simple. I just don't want anyone to miss out. So make sure you're getting in there right away and grabbing your time slots. Okay. Hopefully now you can see my screen. So you're going to go to calendly.com/Karen Freeland Aviles, and you are going to choose the 45-minute Edit Your Life Jumpstart consultation. Totally free for everybody in this challenge. You're going to click on that and you're going to choose a time that works best for you. So if you want Monday or if you want Thursday, you can come in here and grab your time slot and just see, okay, what time works best for me. You'll get a confirmation email and then we will be able to have a chance to discuss your specific situation. Okay. Calendly.com/Karen Freeland Aviles. So super simple. Okay, and I will put the link in the comments as well in Facebook. So the thing that we're also going to do on this call is discuss my Edit Your Life methodology. So this is the exact process that I have used with my clients. It's the exact process I used to reinvent my life. So I know that it works. And the beauty of one-on-one coaching versus being in some sort of challenge is that I can actually meet you where you are. We can laser focus in on the things that are most concerning for you and the areas that you want to focus on versus something that kind of just, glazes over a confidence, for example. Like this, some people in this challenge might have not really had a lot of issues with inner critic. Others were like, that was the biggest thing for me is I needed to understand that. So with one-on-one coaching, we can focus on whatever matters most to you. So make sure you jump in, schedule something soon because I don't want you to miss out. And right now you're probably feeling energized. You're probably feeling like, yes, I want to improve my confidence. So jump on that feeling while it's there. So thank you all for hanging out with me till the end. It's been an honor to serve you this week. Remember to send me your Confidence Creator Mitigating the Risk tonight so you get your final entry in the drawing. I will not be accepting any after 10 a.m. tomorrow, so make sure you get that in right away. And I want to remind you all to celebrate the fact that you completed this challenge. You're fabulous. You are worthy. And most of all, you are willing to try and able to trust yourself that you are going to figure it out. You know what that means? Yeah, that means you have unshakable confidence. I'm so proud of all of you. I hope you enjoyed this challenge. I will see all of you on a discovery call or in the Facebook group. I hope you have an amazing day. And thank you so much for being part of Creating Confidence. Bye, ladies.